All right, as we do our trademark, wait for it to go live here. And we're all good to go. So I guess I'll open it here. I know you were asking me a little bit before we went live about, what I think about this slate, and I absolutely despise this slate. I absolutely hate it. Earlier in the week, I wanted to, enter about 10, 15 lines, enter the 15 for the one, and I have completely pulled those entries. I just feel like if obviously things have to go this way, but if not Kurt Busch, if Truex shows up like I think he will be, like Truex is my favorite play to win this race. I'm playing Truex as a dominator. Like I'm not playing for place differential. I think Truex wins this race. He's always been good at Sonoma. I think he leads. Because of that, I think you have to throw Truex in your lineup. If you're going that direction, and then if Truex is the guy in the 10K range that works, it hurts pretty much everybody else in the 10K range. Like it hurts Elliott, it hurts Kyle Busch, it hurts the potential of Larson if Truex shows up the way I expect it to. And so then it defaults to place differential. And then so you're stuck with people like Kurt Busch and Aric Almirola. And at that point, I think Truex, Aric Almirola, and Kurt Busch have a high chance to be in the optimal lineup. With that, like I don't want to play any big GPPs. If the race does go like that, it's going to chop at the top to where that, that $15, whatever it is, 100,000, 50,000 to win, that easily turns into like 800 to win if you get first because you're tying with so many people. And so I don't think if you're entering a lot of lineups in there, I think the return on value or the return on investment is extremely low. And so I'm just playing some single entries today, but I'm not playing nearly as much as I thought I wanted to because the places to get different and, kind of get off of ownership is still going to be there. Like everybody's still going the same way, Hopefully that makes sense to open this up today.
Yeah. My optimal lineup from my projections is pure place differential. It's Truex, Kurt Busch, Bell, Custer, Buescher, and Briscoe. And the worst part about it is DraftKings went so soft on their pricing this week, and it's the perfect scenario for a road course. You got Chase Elliott starting up front that can dominate, and then you got Truex place differential. So, yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I'll probably end up playing as much as I normally do, but as of now, I'm not planning on it. I do think though, like there's plenty of opportunity to, leave salary on the table though. Like in that 7K range, there's a lot of value in there to differentiate yourself because most people are going to try to fill the full 50K, and I don't think that's going to be optimal today.
I don't think that is optimal, and I know I kind of went on opening talking about place differential, but even like a lot of my early runs had the lineup being Chase Elliott, Truex, Aric Almirola, Newman, or Aric Almirola, Briscoe, and like everybody's going down the same paths. Even where you want to pivot, like everybody has the same ideas this week, and I absolutely hate weeks like that to where I listen to everybody and kind of everybody's like, obviously people will like more guys more than others, but whenever you start talking about pivots, people end up being on the same guys regardless. And I absolutely hate this slate for big field tournaments. I feel like there's going to be a lot of chalk. Do you want to start with Chase Briscoe? Like everything I'm hearing, and maybe sell me on him here, because entering this week, I had absolutely no interest in Briscoe. I still don't have interest in Briscoe. I think his ownership is being pushed up due to the fact that he won the ARCA race yesterday, but so Preece has ran that race before. We've seen other guys run that. That race doesn't mean anything. The only thing it does is for Briscoe, okay, he kind of knows the track now compared to guys who've never been here. But even with that, like I'm not giving Briscoe like a 13th place finish. I'm seeing him finish around like 22nd, somewhere around there. Like I don't understand everybody going to Briscoe at $600-900.
I think it's just the upside of, starting 25th. I mean, my projections really like him. They also really don't like Ryan Newman, for what that's worth. So I've been on the Briscoe train every road course. Going back to Daytona road course, he was running top 10 with no power steering. And then Circuit of the Americas, that was just a shit show and can't really take anything from that, but I think he ended up solid there. I love Briscoe this week. And I think it's because of he won 2 races in Xfinity last year on road courses. And I think road courses are a great or equalizer as far as, Stuart Haas not being as far behind as everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I think he has a solid chance of finishing right in the teens, and at $6,900, I'm definitely going to have a ton of exposure there.
So, if that's the case, then I'm not on Briscoe. I lose straight up right there. But then with the ownership I think we're going to see Briscoe at, I think it's close to 25-30% on Briscoe. I think you're already, putting yourself in a box there, because if it's Briscoe, that's meaning that he's the guy in the 6K range that works. It's not going to allow the 7K range to really work. If you're forcing him in at 6,900, I don't think you need to go to the 7K range. And I think that still leads back to, a very Truex heavy, a very place differential heavy type of lineup build. And so even if he is optimal, I don't know. I don't have the balls to fade Truex in the 15. I just don't want to do that. And I think that's the only way to get different. Like, if you're in the 15, I think the smart thing to do, if you have the money to do it, or if you want to do it, is make lineups that fade Kurt Busch, that fade Aric Almirola, that fade Martin Truex Jr. I think that's how you get different. If you're with the field, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, my tournament play right up this week was going underweight on Truex, but yeah, with as chalky as this race seems to be, you need to take a stand somewhere. And Newman comes to mind for me. Going underweight on him just because he's the lowest price guy, and I don't think you have to go down to 6,300 this week to put together a solid lineup.
No, I don't think you need either. The issue comes from let's see. I have Newman, I have Briscoe, I have Priest, and I have Fredo at very similar projections, all within 3 or 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that situation, I'm going to take the discount at 6,300, or the discount at Alfredo, where I think probably even I'm too high on Alfredo, where I'm only playing one line, and earlier in the week I had Alfredo projected for 22nd, 23rd. If you look at how he's been running in the 2 races this year, I think I was putting too much emphasis on his finishing positions, because you had that bullshit caution at the end of the Daytona road course, and then you had the monsoon at Coda. If you look at where he's running in those races, he's basically DFL. He's not doing anything. It's just these late race cautions or these situations are helping Alfredo get those finishes. If this race goes green, I think a lot of us think it's going to, I think that hurts Alfredo a ton.
Yeah, I'm not on the Alfredo train at all this week, especially after he cost me money last week with that speeding penalty. But yeah, I'm not seeing Alfredo being very good. And like you said, it's hard to see this race not going green. Mm-hmm. So who of the chalk guys would you take a stand on?
So I keep flip-flopping. I think or do you mean a single entry or in tournament play, or what do you mean? I can answer that.
Let's do
better.
Yeah, let's do single entry. Entry lineup. Who you fading?
I think I got to chase the chalk and get different elsewhere. The only person that I haven't made the lineup yet, because I keep changing it. I think I want to fade Kurt Busch if I'm going to fade one, because I love Aric Almirola. I have not played Aric Almirola this entire year, or maybe very slightly. I know everybody's been mad that he's cost them a ton of money. I luckily haven't played him. I haven't seen him as a good play. He hasn't bit me. I think this is the race where I want to go to Aric Almirola. So we have a situation where he's $7,900, way cheaper than Kurt Busch. We have a situation where people are mad at Alfredo. They don't want to play Alfredo because he's costing a lot of money. And we've seen his ownership, continuously go down each week that he just busts. And he's busting for reasons that aren't his doing. He's just having extremely, extremely poor luck. And so if anything, I want to have Aric Almirola today. I want to have Truex today because I see him winning the race. I think he's the best play. I want to play Kurt Busch, but if I'm trying to find a way to get different, I'd much rather take the salary relief that not playing Kurt Busch gives me and get different else, or get different by using that money to play guys who aren't being looked at.
So what do you thinking, like a Bell pivot off of Kurt Busch?
No, because I think so. Yeah. So I really like Harvick and I really like Blaney. You can't get to them if you're playing a Truex, Kurt Busch, Aric Almirola lineup. These guys are extremely difficult to get to. If you're playing a Chase Elliott, Truex lineup, these guys are extremely difficult to get to. I think people are going to want to go Logano for place differential. I think people are going to want to go to Bell for place differential as well. But if you look at how Bell's ran in the Cup Series at road courses, sure, he won the Daytona road course, but he was looking more towards a 7th, 6th place finish until that race changed. If you look at his other races, Bell hasn't performed that well. You can blame the equipment, you can blame him, but 30th at Coda, and he wrecked there. Won at the road course at Daytona this year. At the road course last year at Daytona, he finished 21st. At the Roval in 2020, he finished 24th. If you look at his Xfinity, it's kind of leaning more towards, I think we're relying too much on his win and how he did at the road course this year, whereas I think Bell is going to struggle at this track. He's never been here before in real life. Give him like a 15th, 14th place finish. I don't want to pay $8,400 for that. And so if I'm not playing Kurt Busch, my pivot is not Christopher Bell. I think it's more a Blaney, a Harvick, even Keselowski to an extent.
Mm-hmm. See, I can't get behind the whole they've never raced here before thing. I've seen it. It's been in my comments a couple times this week, and I'm just not. I don't care. It's going to take them 2 laps to really get it down. I don't care about that. Maybe I could be completely wrong about that, but I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue as some people might think it will be.
Yeah, I had a question about this in my Discord or a DM, and I gave an example of this. It's not like, they've never been here before, they're going to fly off the track, but it's equivalent to, even if you've used iRacing or whatever, it's equivalent to if you move to a new neighborhood or a new place and you're using your GPS to get around. You just don't have that instantaneous, like, okay, I'm going to take a left at this street, right at this street to get to the grocery store. You have to think more, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to drive an incoming traffic, but it's just another barrier you have to overcome. It's not like, they're gonna Bell's gonna finish dead last because he's never been here before. I don't project him to get a top 5 here. I'd cut it down to like a 12th, 11th place finish for Bell because of that type of stuff, or even worse. Like they understand breaking points, but you breaking points, in practice, and then, in a race when you're following cars is drastically different. And I think that's where that comes, just having no on-track experience with other cars. I think that's where where that barrier is.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of Bell, do you think Gibbs has the advantage that they had in 2019?
I think so.
And does that open the door for Bubba Wallace getting his first good road course finish?
So in the week, trying to get different, like my first run had Daniel Suarez in it. The second run had Bubba Wallace. I said earlier this week, like Bubba Wallace and Suarez looked like absolutely ugly plays. And being this chalky of a slate, I think that's where you can really consider going. If everybody agrees that, man, Suarez is looking ugly, Bubba's looking ugly, and Bubba, his track history, his road course history is ugly as well. Even looking back at the Daytona road course this year, he was slow, like he's not on pace. But if nobody's going to play these guys, I think that's where you should go, especially in the 6K range. I'd rather find somewhere to get different in the 6K range rather than sacrificing a Truex, sacrificing a Elliott if you want to go that situation. Like I'd rather pivot at a 6K range.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I don't think Bubba gets over 10% ownership today. I'd be surprised if he does. And it's just so tough to play him with how, he's just been so awful. But yeah. So are you worried at all Chase's shaky history here at Sonoma?
So that's another thing. I have Chase projected to lead 22 laps. And that's more counting how he is on road courses. But this is by far his worst statistical road course track. He's always struggled here. And so I think that bumps up the possibility of Larson or Byron or Hamlin doing well in this race. Even with that said, that's why I keep going back to Truex. I like Truex in general as a play, not as like cash play, not as a safe place differential play, like as the guy who's going to win this race. And I have to if I'm going to consider playing Larson, Byron, or Hamlin, I need to convince myself of why Truex isn't going to lead those laps and who's going to lead those laps if it isn't Elliott. And that's where I run into an issue. So maybe going back to your Toyota thing, maybe it is Kyle Busch. Like he's cheaper than Chase Elliott. He has a tiny bit of place differential. He should be in the top 3 this entire race. So maybe the play is if you don't want to go Elliott, it's a Kyle Busch and Truex stack.
I love Kyle Busch this week. I feel like not enough people are talking about Kyle Larson's on the pole and just how fast he's been this year. Could he dominate this race from the pole?
Yeah. So I don't have the balls to, as I said earlier, I don't got the guts to fade the chalk in the big tournaments, where I think that's where you should go if you want to try and be different. So if you're playing the 15, I think playing Kyle Larson makes great sense. If people are hesitant to play him because he's starting on the pole, whatever that means. If they're hesitant for that, if everybody's going to Chase Elliott because he's, the king on road courses, nobody's really talking about Kyle Busch, kind of like we just said there. Like, I think these are the types of plays you go. So you're not getting away from the Truex stuff. That's kind of how I'd pivot if I was going to continue to make lineups. And that's where I was going last night. That's why I pulled all the lineups, because I hated them. It's just like, look, these are either gonna do well or it's just lighting $150 on fire. And
Right.
I'd much rather just cut the I'd much rather just cut the spending for the day and just eat the chalk in single entries than burn $150, $200 today.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
It just goes back. That's kind of why I don't like this this slate a whole lot. Let's see. Let me look at any questions while we're kind of waiting here. I know you're kind of higher on Busher than I am, right?
Oh, I love Busch this week. And maybe that's I don't know where he's going to end up ownership wise. I know I love him. I don't really have a pulse for who else likes him.
Because I would put, and I don't think I'm going to play Stenhouse either, but I almost like Stenhouse a little bit more than Busher if I think both these plays are plays that have to kind of hold their positions the entire race. That's why I don't really like Busher. I don't see him doing more than holding 12th, 13th, or 14th, whereas the same argument I would make with Stenhouse. And Stenhouse is cheaper. That's kind of the only way I would get to Busher. I don't think he can outscore people from the back. A lot of the 6K range, the other 6K range that he's like fighting against, even though he's a 7K range driver, I think he gets outscored by other people. That's why I'm not on Busher right now.
Yeah. So what do you think about Eric Jones right below him?
I haven't had any even look at Eric. Just he hasn't popped off in any of my stuff. Like I think his finishes are inflated due to that JGR equipment that he had and the speed that they had in 2019 at all road courses. But man, like paying $7,000 for like 2 place differential points or 3 at max, like that's, I mean, yet again, that's why the 6K range is horrible. And it kind of goes back to, maybe if Eric Jones can get 2 positions, well, maybe if Chris Busch can get 2 positions, like I think Bubba can maybe get 2 positions,
Right. Yeah, I think I'm completely overlooking Stenhouse. I forgot that he was 6,100 this week.
Yeah, my only concerning thing is his lap time at the road courses this year. Like at the where are we at? Where you at, Sten? So like Stenhouse at the Daytona road course, he starts 16th, automatically falls back in the field, running 26th, then running 24th midway through the race. The highest he gets, like in a green flag run, is like 20th. And then he just gets trapped, at like 25th, 22nd. He finishes 18th. He can hold on to, 14th. I think he might fall back to 18th. And that's kind of why I keep wanting to. I think I'm going to play Bubba Wallace. I really do. And I hate to say that, but if anybody can hold positions, probably better. I think it's probably Bubba over Stenhouse, based on the equipment that he has, based on who did better at Daytona Road Course. Was it Stenhouse or Bubba? Let's look. Head to head. Oh yeah, I forgot. Bubba also was absolutely horrible as well. Yet again, so Wallace or Stenhouse, he falls to 26. Wallace automatically falls like 22nd, then rides in 26th all day. It's basically running dead last. And then that caution comes out. He starts 11th, and then he got wrecked on second to last lap, and he finished 28th. So, like, man, head to head, I think it's Wallace slightly, but I don't know. I'll let you talk now because I cut you off there.
So, going back to the Gibbs thing and making a case again for Bubba, I'm not even looking at Coda, but so the Busch Clash and Daytona Road Course this year, Gibbs 1, 2, 3 green flag speed. I like Bubba in that range I use that term loosely, but I agree with you there. What about now that I'm looking at it, Tyler Reddick? Is he cost too much, or is he your differentiator off of Almirola and Chastain? Starting 10th.
The issue is, I think Almirola finishes. What do I have him? Where is he at? I'm giving Almirola 10th.
Is he that good of a road course racer? I'm not seeing it. What am I missing?
I think he has it, man. He has it. It's a lot of the experience at this track. It's the experience in these cars. Like let's take a gander at his. Do you want to look at Sonoma or his road courses in general? Because if you look at Coda, 26, Daytona road course this year, 17th, Daytona road course last year, 24th, Roval 2020, 16th, Roval in 2019, 14th, Roval in 2018, 12th, Watkins Glen in 2019, 12th, Watkins Glen 2018, 22nd. Then we get to Sonoma, to where he's statistically good. Like this is, whereas Elliott, this is his worst road course. This is Aric Almirola's best road course. So 9th in 2019, 8th in 2018, 27th in 2016. He had a mechanical issue there. And then 14th at Sonoma in 2015. Like I think, maybe 10th is like a ceiling, but I think Aric Almirola slides into 14th, 13th today. Ryan, I want to bring this up as well. Ryan Blaney, he finished 34th at Sonoma in 2018 because of a power steering issue. So he went to the garage, went 3 laps down. I actually rewatched that race this morning to see what happened to Blaney here. And that's another reason why I like Blaney more, because other than mechanical issues, Blaney has been, a top, I would say a top 6 driver at most road courses. And so that's why I like Blaney more. I like Aric Almirola more, and it's leaning more towards Truex. I think he's optimal. Kurt is very head tails, but I think Aric Almirola is also optimal. And so, kind of going last week at the Coca-Cola 600, where we both believed, and I kind of do this every week, to where I try and pick 2 guys that are going to be optimal and kind of build around them. Last week it was Larson and Kyle Busch. This week I think it's Truex and Aric Almirola.
What about McDowell?
Can't do it.
I'm trying to get you off of Almirola.
I can't get off of him, man.
What about Chastain? Does he drive too aggressive for this track?
So I'm giving him 19th. Let me look. What do I have them? Because there was lineups that I was putting Chastain and Almirola together. Yeah, I like Chastain if you can get to him. Yeah, I like Chastain. I'm just afraid of what playing Chastain kind of leaves you with, because then you're really in the 5 and 4K range, and I'm sure we'll talk about that for another 10 minutes in a minute. I would probably not play Chastain just due to the fact that I think he limits your lineups. If you're not playing Aric Almirola, I think Chastain's the pivot off of him. But man, I like Aric Almirola a lot this week.
So I think that's where you and I are just majorly different this week. I love McDowell, I love Briscoe, and I love Buescher.
Well, sell me on McDowell. Talk to me here, driver. What are we seeing from Michael?
Other than the fact that he's like top 12 road course lately, every time. Let me pull up here quick.
I also want to bring, we are at Michael McDowell's pinnacle. His career is never going to get better than this season. We are witnessing his greatest season ever.
And he said he wants to come back to front row. I don't know why. You're having your best year ever.
God, just looking at this here, I know I said I was going to let you talk, but the last 3 road courses, all top 10s. Everything before is par, is very subpar. In a sense where, okay, maybe he gains 2 or 3 positions. I'm giving McDowell 16th. I don't hate the play, but I am not, going to kill myself trying to get McDowell into a lineup.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking at it more as I want to get off the chalk whenever possible. So I have McDowell projected for 30 points today, and then Almirola and Chastain at 29.
Mm-hmm.
So if McDowell's the lower owned of those guys, I'd love to keep him and hope he sneaks into another top 10.
Oh man,
that's another thing. I just saw a comment about stage points, is how that's going to really affect us. Plus the competition caution at lap 10. Why are we having a competition caution on lap 10?
Yeah, it's so everything's dumb, man. I hate my life. If you're gonna
Cody Ware was optimal yesterday. That's how dumb everything is this weekend.
Ryan Ellis was optimal too. God, don't even get me started, man. That's the 8th time this year that I've been absolutely so close, and then the last restart just destroys everything. At least I know I'm getting closer. I guess it's good to have really close days. But
by the way, you're a fellow conspiracy theory. Do you think Jeb put that in the dirt on purpose?
I don't know, man. I saw that and I was like, man.
Nobody missed. Even Cody Ware didn't miss a corner that bad yesterday.
He locked those tires up way early. Like, don't get me started, man. When that happened, I was like, what the fuck is Jeb doing? Why are you locking the brakes up that early? And he I mean, it was wild. It was really wild.
I think Colleague told him they knew Allmendinger had the elite car yesterday, and I think they got some team orders and said, put it in the dirt.
When all AJ's friend from the IndyCar thing was like, oh, he's gonna get up to the front. I knew that. I was like, AJ's gonna drive through this field in like 20 laps, and he'll be up to fourth. He just needs the late race yellow. He's gonna finish like fourth out of yellow.
Yep.
And I knew he'd win it. I knew he would as soon as he had that issue. But man, I thought the same thing. I also thought the same thing because I'm pretty sure Jeb got that car out without NASCAR's help.
Yeah.
That's why stuck. He kind of he slid it in a way to where his tires didn't get stuck. If you really miss that corner, you're digging the. I mean, I don't want to get started with that stuff, man. People already hate me when I bring that stuff up anyway. And then,
hopefully we don't see that this today, but
the competition caution. Why? So like competition cautions are for like, we don't have practice, qualifying got washed out, whatever. 10 laps in this race is like 25 minutes. It's like half an hour.
Yeah.
Probably more than half an hour before this competition caution comes out. Like, what is this doing? It should be like in lap 3 if you're going to do it.
Yeah, I don't see the point of it. And then what are the stages today? 20, 20, and 50?
Yeah.
Yeah. So getting back to my point on that, who do you think stays out and gambles? We know Harvick's going to. And probably Hamlin to get another stage point.
Mm-hmm. Part of me really thinks Bubba's going to do it, but it seems like the consensus between crew chiefs is that they believe that there's going to be more than 16 winners this year, and that they don't even want to bother trying to waste their way in on points. Or that if there's like 14 or 15 winners, like Bubba's not going to be the highest non-point guy towards the end of the race or towards the end of the playoff season. So I put more stake into that for Xfinity than I do Cup Series right now. I don't think there's a lot of guys trying to points race their way in. I think they're all trying to get those wins to lock themselves in. I think that's where it's at. Let me see. And I'm sorry, I'm getting through your questions here. I went on my rants and I'm reading through to see if there's any questions. Can you better? That's okay. I don't think you can. So this is kind of my train of thought here, and that's why I pulled all my lineups out of the 15, other than the one that I'm playing. Is if the chalk hits, the winner is not going to be one person. Like if Truex or a combination of any of these guys, Briscoe, Truex, Aric Almirola, Newman, I'll even throw Chase in there because it might not be high chalk, but you're still duplicating with people if you're fighting lineups that have Chase and Truex together. All these lineups that have chalk working out is going to be played across the board. If I'm making them, I know you're probably at least running them in the optimizer. I know everybody else is seeing them either on Fantasy Cruncher or their own optimizers or they're hand building. And when you hand build, you tend to go more place differential plays anyway. I just don't see a way to get different if the chalk hits. So, that's kind of why I say the play is don't play the chalk and just expect that money to be burned. If the chalk hits.
I think, one way on that, just to wrap that up, would be leaving salary on the table and still hitting chalk. If it's chalk that hits. If you have enough for Almirola jumping down and getting Briscoe or whatever, and leaving 1,000 on. Mm-hmm. That's how I see if chalk's what wins this today. I think that's the way to differentiate yourself. But I'm fully on board with fading chalk.
I got a point. Everybody's already giving me shit about Aric Almirola. I haven't played Aric Almirola this whole fucking year. Okay, I think Aric Almirola, I think the place differential is there. 10th place is his ceiling. Like my projected finish is always a ceiling. I already see that. Everybody's like, Aric Almirola sucks. I know. That's why I haven't played him this whole year. I like him this week. This is the first week this year I've liked Aric Almirola. Sorry. Keep going. I had to point that out.
Throw that comment on there about what the chalk is besides Truex and Elliott.
Okay, so let's do this together here. So I think it's Chase, and Chase. I don't mean he's like 40% chalk, but he's owned. He's going to be owned a lot on guys playing, an early place differential or a lap leader. Chase is going to be a chalky play there, and then you go to Truex, and then we go on Newman. Chase, bro, Aric, Priest. Wait, Brandon, you can't put all these guys in the lineup. I know, but when you're, if I go, okay, I'm going to do 1A, 1B, 1C, when you're putting guys in and out of lineups, that's how you go from playing Briscoe to playing Newman to playing Priest to playing Alfredo. And it's not like these guys are going to, split between 15,000 people, but I don't want to split between 20 lineups at any point. Okay, so we got Kurt. What am I missing here on these guys so far? Like, I think these are where a lot of people are going to try and go. Probably Belt.
Yeah.
Too.
I see. I don't see Alfredo as chalk, but I'm right there with you on everybody else. But
go ahead.
Going back to, I'm just looking at Coda ownerships. What was I gonna? Newman starting 34th at Coda at $6,700 was 20% owned. Mm-hmm. Briscoe starting 27th was 22% owned. Do you think, like, to me, that's like when I expect chalk, I expect much higher than 20%. Chase Briscoe starting 27th should be higher than 22% owned, and same with Newman starting 34th. But then you had Truex starting 17th, and he was almost 50. He was at 44. Mm-hmm. And then Buescher at 33. So those are the top three.
Mm-hmm. And that goes back to, I don't think Alfredo, let me just try and guess. I think Alfredo comes in at 12. I think Newman might be at 21.
So Alfredo at Coda started 37th, and he was 5% owned, and he was $5,100.
The issue comes from people seeing how he's finished this year, and a lot of lineups will end. Your last driver will be able to have 5,900 salary from what I'm seeing. So you're either at 59 left, 58 left, and so you look at Alfredo. Do you want to play Alfredo or do you want to play Quinn Hoffmore? I think that's how Alfredo gets there. Even if he's at 8, I still think a lot of, when you're at that 8% of Alfredo, a lot of those lineups are going to be built similar. Like Alfredo, say if the Alfredo lineup wins that big contest, you might be splitting that between 35 people. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it certainly hurts that payout. I think Briscoe comes in around 24. Priest is maybe around 15. Trying to think right now, but I think that's kind of where it goes more. And so, you're not tying with thousands of people, but I don't think you can get different easily unless you're playing just absolute dog shit plays that nobody wants to play with. Like, even if, I think we might see Ware at like 3% ownership. And that's chalky there, because if you're paying $4,700 and 3% of 30,000 lineups have that, there's a good chance that those lineups are built very similar.
Yeah. So if you're using where, build the lineup and leave salary on the table. If you want to differentiate yourself from everybody else with where.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. This is my thought. This is the same talk I've been having with myself all weekend of just. I mean, I don't have the guts to get that crazy and it not work out. You know, I just don't right now.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if this was a race where it was 400 laps, I would absolutely be still doing a lot. But when you have such a small number of fast laps and laps led and place differentials the main source of your points, it really makes it difficult.
Matt DiBenedetto is one guy we didn't talk about.
I think he's going to be popular too, because if you don't go, if you're depending on how you make lineups, you're either going towards Christopher Bell at 84 or Matt DiBenedetto.
Yep.
I was hand building a lot of lineups where I did not have enough money left for Christopher Bell, but I had enough for Matt DiBenedetto. And so,
so I know DiBenedetto finished like fourth here. Mm-hmm. Do you think he has similar upside, or what are you thinking?
Sorry, say that again. I was looking at chat. Sorry.
Do you think he has similar upside? Definitely not top 5. Oh crap. Not top 5, but does he have top 10 upside?
Who, Matt DiBenedetto or Christopher Bell? Or are you saying between those two guys?
DiBenedetto specifically.
I'm giving. Well, I mean, I have him over here. I'm giving Matt as a 15th for his projection. So I have Matt DiBenedetto projected for 34 points. I have Christopher Bell projected for 40.85.
Mm-hmm. I'm not on the DiBenedetto hype today. Yeah, I don't think I'll have any of them.
Yeah, I'm not either. But I think he's popular if people don't have enough for Bell and they want somebody who can kind of give him place differential. Because if you got, if you have enough for Matt DiBenedetto as your last guy, you're looking at DiBenedetto, Custer,
Reddick,
yeah. And so, a lot of people already don't like Stuart Haas this year in general. Part of me wanted to play Cole Custer, but I hated the lines that it would make. Like, I could not force in a Cole Custer line that I liked. Custer and Bubba are honestly the two plays that this whole week are just screaming play to get different.
I really like Custer this week.
Okay, well, that changed it because then I did not need reassurance on Custer because I've been trying to talk myself out of him this whole week.
Yeah, he's what do I have him projected at? $34 with an upside of 52.
I'm giving him 37. Yeah,
like I said, my optimal lineup, according to my projections, has Custer in it and Buescher.
Yeah, mine had Custer in it as well. Buescher plays interesting. Don't think I can do it, but I guess it's certainly different.
Yeah, my projections keep spitting him out, even though I have him finishing where he starts, and they still really like him.
Yeah, and Reddick's ran well too. Like, he really surprised us at the road course in the Clash and in the actual Daytona road course earlier in the year.
Mm-hmm. Starting 10th, though, and I hate that salary of
God
8,000.
dang, man. That's why it just.
But if it gets you off of Almirola and Bell, I mean, that could be the play. That could be the pivot that takes it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here, let me zoom. I know you and the viewers probably can't see this very well because I zoomed out. But if all the chalk is between 19th and 30th, I think you got to try and get exposure to guys between 18th and 10th to get different. Like if all the plays are 30th to 20th, that's just where you got to try and get different. I think that would be my advice. If you're trying to get different and you're determined on playing a lot of lineups today, I would try and go overweight on the top 20 starters versus the back 20.
I'd agree with that. I keep defaulting to Harvick. I don't know why. I think I like his price way too much.
Mm-hmm. And he's led laps here, and he runs well at road courses. He's had bad luck this year. I loved him at Coda. Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
I like Truex as well. I had them project to do well. It's kind of the same thing. I really like Harvick. I like Truex. It's just, man, building lineups that have guys 10th to 19th need a lot of these guys to fail.
Right.
I mean, that's when you go into probability and those aspects, I think probably it's easy to say probably 3 guys between 30th and 20 fail. But when you need, 4, 5, 6, more of these guys to do bad, it's rough. It's really rough.
That's a few. So we haven't talked about punts today.
We have not, man. So I've got a lot of messages this week of like, Brandon, you're the punt guy. Who's the punt guy here? Who does this? And I'm like, look, I've been playing punts all year. I always do. My entire DFS thing. I'm always at least playing a few punts. Cody Ware seems like the only guy to me, and I don't like that. I think he can score well. And I think a lot of Cody Ware lineups will cash today. I don't see him being optimal. And I'm only playing one lineup. I did have 2 Cody Ware lineups before. I took those both out. But I think he's the only guy there. Maybe Quinn Houff, but I have Cody Ware projected to score more points. So it would default to Cody Ware for me.
Yeah, I don't like, if I was going to punt with anyone, it'd be like Davison, but I just don't see any of these guys. Like this race is going green. We're not getting wrecks. I don't see any of them even coming close to 25th.
Yeah, I don't.
Ben Rhodes, Ben Rhodes is probably in this race because Haley raced yesterday, now that I think about it. But Cody Ware raced yesterday. I saw a tweet, I forget who sent it out, talking about the time difference for Ware going from Ohio to California and how he might be super exhausted.
He's going to have huge jet lag. I think he ran the Xfinity race yesterday. I think he's doing a road course test for IndyCar today. And then he's running this later.
He might spin 4 times instead of 3.
Yeah. And, we give a lot of crap to these guys in the back. Cody Ware is getting a lot of laps. Like he really is like going out of his way to get racing. Like he's doing a lot more than Garrett Smithley ever did. A lot more than Josh Bilicki. Like Ware and Houff are actually like they're pretty decent racers for the experience that they have. But I don't think a punt works today. I don't have enough interest to go there.
I'm just messing around with a Ware lineup right now. You could fit in.
They look good, but just when I put my projections, Ware lineups are around 8 points less than lineups without him.
Yeah.
With my stuff. I don't know if you're seeing that as well.
I haven't fully looked at that. But when I can fit in Truex, Harvick, Blaney, Kurt Busch, and Briscoe, along with Ware.
Dude, I I'm pretty sure that is not the line that I have. But that's close to what it's. So yet again, here we are. Like you and I are both trying to get different, and we landed in very similar waters.
I think it was Ware being taking down the GPP yesterday. That plus he starts dead last, and he's $4,600. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate this slate so much, man. My advice is just not to play a lot of it. Like I would much rather save my money for next week and later this month. Because I can't find an edge that I really like.
Truex, Bell, Harvick, Briscoe, Kyle Busch, Cody Ware.
Say that again.
Truex, Bell, Harvick, Briscoe, Kyle Busch. Pivot off of Elliott to Kyle Busch. You got a place differential with Truex. Harvick should be relatively low owned. And then no Kurt Busch, but you got Bell and Briscoe.
You get off Bell and go Aric. I think that's a strong line.
Could do that. Yeah.
It's so funny the amount of shit that I've gotten for Aric Almirola this week. Like, I've hated him as a play every single week. I haven't seen everything that everybody else has seen this year, but this is one where I think he can work.
It's always those weeks that,
that's why I'm like, if I'm this high on Aric this week and nobody else is, like, I gotta play him.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Hamlin. Looking at that comment, I think it came in.
Yeah, let's go clutch. So how does Hamlin work? Larson, Elliott, Kyle Busch don't work.
And Byron, Byron has dominator potential, I think.
Byron. So go ahead.
I don't think Hamlin has the dominator potential to work. I really don't. But I do think he can end up winning it.
Yeah. I think let me see what I have Hamlin with, because I'm pretty sure I'm giving him laps led.
Like if Hamlin wins it, he's going to lead 4 laps and hopefully not blow the last turn like he did that year when he let Stewart win.
Did I ever? I think I've talked about this online. Yeah, I'm giving Hamlin 6 laps led, 3 fast laps. I still to this day, as a diehard Stewart fan, I think Hamlin did that on purpose.
So do I.
100%. Absolutely. I mean, it left such a bitter taste in my mouth because I wanted Stewart to get a final win so bad, and when it happened, I was like, "What is Hamlin doing?" Like Hamlin should have won that race. Absolutely should have won that race. So, I mean, oh my God, dude. I'm still not over that. Like, I'm incredibly frustrated. That was Tony's last win because he didn't deserve that win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on there. That was more obvious than Jeb yesterday.
Yeah, and people are like, I'm telling you, man. I get into conspiracy stuff, and people get mad because they're like, no, he wheel hop. Didn't you see his wheel hop? I think he induced that wheel hop on purpose.
Yeah, 100%. That's not cashing no place differential. We were just talking about dominators, dude.
That's not...
You're not gonna throw 4 of the top 5 starters in one lineup.
Yeah, like, oh man. Let's see, man. I hate this week, man. I absolutely hate the lineups. I hate the week. I absolutely hate it. Like, my interest is so low. Do you have anything else to add? Because I think I've covered everything that I wanted to bring up or talk about.
Trying to Logano, I think he's top 5.
Mhm.
I know we haven't talked about him. I don't think he gets any dominator points, but definitely at 10-1, it's just hard for me to – I hate paying up for place differential.
Mhm.
And that was my theory on Truex this week, is not paying up for place differential. But I like being underweight on Truex as a strategy play, not necessarily because I think that's what's going to end up happening.
Mhm.
But, I mean, we saw yesterday, Cindric, anything can happen with these guys. So strategy-wise, strategy-wise, I don't mind being underweight on Truex.
Yeah, I think that's another thing related to DFS is I think a lot of people forget that the fact that we're thinking of things that are counterintuitive, like when you're making DFS lineups, it usually doesn't go hand to hand on how, like a real life race would go or how you imagine a real life race would go. Like we really have to think of, I just went blank. I was saying, absolutely went blank. Can't finish my thought.
Talking about the race and
like
as expected.
Yeah, like you have to think outside the box for fantasy sports. That's just how it always is. Same thing with NFL, NBA. A lot of quote unquote dumb plays are what win people millions of dollars throughout the course of a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always where my mind goes is those differential play. Like anybody can sit here and say pick Martin Truex Jr. and pick Kurt Busch. Like, yeah, no shit. That's everybody's on these guys. But as far as actual game theory and strategy, you need to definitely think outside the box because going with the flow doesn't win you the top prize most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I even put out in the Patreon notes today. I think the winning lineup, if it's taken down, it's going to be just an ugly play. Probably in the top 20 that wins it for somebody. If it's a solo takedown, and a lot of the chalk still goes through. I think it's a really ugly play. That's kind of why I keep going back to Wallace. I think Wallace is an absolute horrible play, terrible play. He should finish absolutely horrible. But for DFS at a really low ownership, I like Wallace.
What about Keselowski? What do you think about Keselowski at 8,500?
So I have Keselowski and Harvick for very similar projections. I'm giving Harvick a little more place differential. Where is Keselowski at? I'm giving Keselowski 8th because he hasn't been killer on road courses in a while. Like obviously he's a good road courser, but fantasy wise, I think he gets like 8th or 7th, whereas I think Harvick can get a top 4.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my lineups that I pooled had Keselowski in them. I just didn't think that they would project out very well. Like, I think I'd rather play Harvick over Keselowski. However, I'd much rather play Keselowski over Logano. And I'd much rather play Blaney over Keselowski if that kind of helps you understand my rationing. So I'd like Harvick more due to what I think he can do, and I like Blaney more because I think he can outscore Keselowski there.
Mm-hmm. I don't like Keselowski at all today.
Oh, I'm giving Keselowski 4.7x value, 40.25. So I mean, it's really ugly.
When's the last time Keselowski had a top 10 at a road course?
It's got to be like 2017, 2016. I'm guessing. It's got to be Watkins Glen. It's got to be.
Yeah, that year that he didn't he? No, that was Kyle Busch that got hurt and won it. But Keselowski is right up there with him.
Let's look if we can go back far enough.
I know when I was
top 5, or what were you saying?
Just top 10.
He got a top 5 at the Daytona Road Course last year. He got a top. He finished fifth at the Roval in 2019, and he finished third at Sonoma in 2017.
It's his only top 10 here since 2011.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he was surprisingly, like I remember looking up Keselowski earlier this week, and it was like surprisingly, I always thought he was a really good road course racer, and I was like, he doesn't have the results to sway me.
He was really good in the COT, but the Gen 6 has not been. The Gen 6 has killed so many careers. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's got Austin Dillon into victory lane though.
Yeah, man. Austin Dillon's won 2 crown jewels, man. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I guess he did finish 5th. Keselowski did finish 5th Daytona road course this year. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so that I mean, that's why you play Keselowski here. I'm not saying, play him, but I'm like, that's why, like, when you build a Keselowski lineup, you're playing him for the top 5 upside.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like all my lineups. Like, whenever I build for any race, or whether it's CSGO, NFL, like I'm building that lineup assuming everybody in that lineup hits their ceiling and is the winning lineup. I think people forget that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, man. The more I think about it, I don't like it. So I guess kind of let's rapid fire, because we've been here for an hour. Yeah. Let's do absolutes. Do you like Elliott? I would say no.
Yes.
Okay.
I still think he wins this.
Okay, I don't think he. Well, I think it's him or Kyle Busch or Truex. Him, Kyle Busch, Truex winning the race.
I hope Kyle Busch wins. I bet him 9-1.
That's a good.
Also grabbed Hamlin at 14-1. I couldn't really believe those odds, but
those are really good, actually.
I guess when you have
the favorite, is it Truex? Who's the second favorite then?
Chase is the favorite at like plus 150.
Wow.
And then Truex is at 4-1.
Wow, that's crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, both races. Like yesterday, I think Cindric was the favorite at plus 165. Okay, so Chase is plus 225, Truex is 4-1, and then DraftKings has Kyle Busch at 7-1, but FanDuel still has him at 9-1, and then Larson 8-1.
Those are actually like really decent lines. Those are really good.
Harvick 18-1.
I would. I'd like. What is Harvick for top 3? Curious about that.
Top 3 is plus 450.
Oh.
And then top 5 is plus. I got Harvick at plus 275 earlier this week for a top 5, and he's at 250 now.
Yeah, that's not bad either. I think this would be a good week to bet. I think it's a bad week for DFS. Oh yes, that's what we're doing. So, what do you think of Kyle Busch? I like Kyle Busch.
Love him.
Okay, Harvick, I like him.
Love him.
Blaney, I like him.
I'm a little less than like. He's above average, but not a superstar for me.
Okay. Logano, I don't like.
I think he has top 5 upside.
Okay. Stenhouse, I don't like.
No. I like the price, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I really think Stenhouse or Wallace wins somebody a lot of money today. and Suarez or Busher. Like the more we've talked about it, Busher, Stenhouse, Wallace,
But
Suarez.
we're all aboard the Busher train. Let's go.
Yeah.
Everyone got through tech. Nobody's going to the back.
Yeah, everybody got through. So let's see. Truex, I'd love.
You have to. Theory-wise, I like being underweight.
Mm-hmm. I don't like Bell.
I really like Bell.
Okay.
But I've been swayed a little bit today on getting off of Bell a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Regarding your going under on Truex, I looked at this being the week to try and go over on Truex, because if he comes in at, I don't think Truex goes over 50%. I think I'd much rather be over on Truex and over on Aric Almirola. And I think I'd rather be over on Kurt Busch. If I was still entering a lot of lineups, that was my initial plan on Friday, to just be overweight on those three guys compared to the field. Because if you enter enough lineups, even if Truex is at 48% owned, like, you're still going to have more than the field, and you can still take advantage of that ownership compared to yours. That's probably where I'd go. So I like Custer. I think you'd like Custer as well.
Yep.
I like Newman, but I think he's going to be very popular.
I don't like Newman.
Okay. I don't like Briscoe.
Love him.
Okay.
I wrote him up as a cash play.
Oh, man.
That's how much I like him.
Man. I am so scared. That's wild. That's crazy. Like, see, like, what am I missing here, man? Because I just don't see it from Briscoe. I guess I'm going to be wrong today if he hits. Everybody already knows how I think about Aric Almirola. I like Priest, but I think he's going to be high owned too.
I don't think he's going to be quite as high owned because he's 68 and people are so used to him being 56. I like Priest.
My only issue is, because I guess we didn't talk about Priest a whole lot, his finishes have been really, really worrying. Like Coda, Monsoon, can't count. I don't count any data from that race as viable. 9th Daytona Road Course. Where was he running when that caution came out for that rain? I'm curious to see that. I don't know if he pitted already or not. So before that, he started 6th, fell back 17th for the first yellow, ran 22nd, 23rd, 22nd, yellow. Got up to 19th. People start pitting. He was running like probably around 18th, 17th when that caution came out at Daytona. I just don't think we're going to see Priest run in the top 20 today. That'd be my only concern. Otherwise, I'd probably try and be overweight on Priest as well. I'm just concerned that he doesn't get inside the top 20 much today. Yeah,
so I'm looking at his good finishes on road courses. So he finished 21st at Charlotte in 2019, 14th at Charlotte in 2020, but he started mid-teens on both of those. Mm-hmm. And then Daytona road course this year, he started 6th and he finished 9th. So obviously, track position's huge at road courses. So maybe I don't like Priest as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, that's a real concern there.
That's another reason I like Busher, though.
Yeah. You're not pushing me more towards Busher, but I'm getting pushed more towards people like Wallace and Suarez.
Looks like your boy Alfredo had a inspection issue.
Good for him. I hope he's cheating. That's about the only way we're gonna. I hope he's cheating.
He's going to the rear, and crew chief ejected.
Oh, they really are cheating. Then that's a real cheat.
Yeah, ejected from the track. Wow.
So that's probably a tier 3 or tier 4 penalty. That's probably something with a motor or body work. or they failed half a dozen times the inspection. That is something NASCAR does not like.
Right.
Let's see. It's a tech violation day, so probably body modification or no, it probably just failed tech a few times. That's probably all it was.
Well, Pocker said nobody failed multiple times, so I think it was after.
Oh, and then something got pointed out by another team then, or somebody informed somebody of something on that car. Well, that's actually really big. I got to try and look into that more. That doesn't push me more towards Alfredo, just out of pure curiosity. I want to see what that was, because that's something that they went out of their way to discover.
And does that affect McDowell?
Yeah, so like I'm trying to think of that as well. I'm sure we'll find out before race. I doubt, unless they're like, man, he's got a bigger motor in that thing. That does not change my opinion on McDowell or Alfredo, but I am curious, because if Alfredo's doing it, I have to assume that McDowell's doing it as well.
Right.
So I'll be keeping up on that up until race, but I don't think that'll change anything for me. Continuing with our rapid fire that has taken 10 minutes. I like Kurt Busch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I'm not too high on any other punts in the back.
I'm going 50% Cody Ware today.
I think I was at 25 yesterday, what I had all my lineups in. No, because I know I had him in 2, but I think I was projected to do about 25% ownership to Ware.
Do you think his what he did yesterday will bump up his ownership today, Andy? What if he comes in at like 12% owned?
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked, because with how lineup construction is, if you want to put in all the big studs, you're going to min price. You're going to, Ware and Half. That's why these are places where I do not like playing punts. Do that chalk. It's like a baseball chalk, like on an MLB slate, where a 10% ownership is the chalk. Whereas like with punt plays, like 2% ownership is the chalk at the punt range.
Yeah. Alfredo to the back, not Almirola.
Yeah, I may have misspoke, but you guys are good. Well, we got 164 people watching. I didn't even notice the viewers. Thank you guys for tuning in. I haven't even looked at the YouTube thing. I've mainly been looking at projections and stuff. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It hasn't seemed like we've been here an hour and 15, but we have. I don't want to keep you any longer unless you want to keep chit-chatting or talking about other stuff.
We got any more decent questions?
Yeah, I think I've only brought up like 2 or 3 questions today. Let's see. Let me try and go through. But yeah, this is a rough, man. Kind of this question. Cash lineups are just all place differential, and the only cash I would play would probably be head-to-heads today, if I was doing that, or very like 10-man 50-50s, but that's about it.
And if I'm doing head-to-head, I'm leaving salary on the table to try to be different, because pretty much everybody's going to have, Truex, Kurt Busch, probably Briscoe, Newman, and then probably Bell, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then, McDowell or Almirola or someone in that range. So I'd go down to Busher.
You're Busher, man. I hope it works for you. Because I know I'm not going to play him. So hopefully it works out for you.
This is like the second time I've been all in on Busher. The first time was the Daytona 500 this year, and he was the first one wrecked.
I hate to say this at your expense, But yet again, I got a ton of people give me a lot of shit for my wild plays, but I love Derek Cope for the 500, and Derek Cope outscored like 8 or 9 drivers, despite the fact he only made it about 4 laps. That's funny.
Oh man,
that's funny. But yeah, guys, thanks for. I think we're gonna probably wrap it up here. I think we've probably talked about enough. Be sure to check Jordan out at Fantasy Racing Online. He puts all his stuff up for free. I know I got my stuff behind the Patreon paywall, but if you want some projections, if you want some ideas of where to go, check out his website. Everything's free. Support him through that. I always check out his videos each week. He normally puts up 2. Yeah, I mean, you normally do 2, right? Because you normally do it right when salaries come out, then usually on Saturday.
Yeah. So my first video is all for my game and just kind of general fantasy, and then the second video that I put up is a little bit longer and I basically just go driver by driver, DFS wise.
Yeah. I used to do that here and there, but now that I do, live shows, kind of just the early video earlier in the week is kind of my projections anyway. And then if anything changes, I let people know here. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to try to keep this rolling. I know a lot of people enjoy listening to us. So I plan on keeping Jordan here and inviting him back each and every week. So thank you guys for tuning in, and best of luck today, man. The chalk is either going to work out or it's not. And then at that point, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of things are going to change, but best of luck today, guys.
Yep.